Okay, what kind of accessories do I need for my hat? What do I need that's pretty much essential? Do I need any kind of like stuff to keep it from drying out or something? Or some kind of waterproofing sprays? What about the leather? Some kind of leather conditioner? Or what about a hat brush? Is that right? But I'm brushing and it's not taking the dust off. I don't understand. What can I do at home that's kind of like what you do, Kevin, when you make my hats dust-free and look all new again? So how can I do that the easy, cheap, efficient way, the same way Kev does it? Well, we're going to show you that today. First thing I'm going to try to do is play this Elton John song that I played the other day. That was Country Comfort. I don't even remember what key I played it in, so I'm going to give it a little go, I guess, as soon as the sirens die down a little bit. It doesn't go with the country. Maybe that's why I want to play this countrified song. Let's give it a shot. Soon the pines will be falling everywhere. Village children fight each other for a share. And the 609 goes rolling past the creek. You can prepare the salmon for next week. I saw Grandma yesterday down at the store. Well, she's really going fine for 84. When she asks me sometime, I pick the phone. Oh, girl, she needs a hand to run the phone. And then it's good old country in my bones. Just the sweetest sound my ears have ever known. Just an old-fashioned feeling for the country comfort. It's a truck that's going home. I saw Grandma yesterday at the store, where she really felt fine for 84. When she asked me if sometimes I'll fix her bone. Oh, girl, she needs a hand to run the phone. That's better. It's a good old country in my bones. Just the sweetest sound my ears have ever known. Just an old-fashioned feeling full of pride. Country, it's the truck that's going home. Well, they got a new machine. The foreman says it costs manpower by 15. Well, I ain't much since old girl said he's a horse-drawn man until his dying day. The sweetest sound my ears have ever known. comes down to bricks, and the rocking chair is creaking on the porch. Cross the valley moves the earthman with his torch. When this good old country comes through in my bones, just the sweetest sound my ears had ever known. Just an old-fashioned feeling, fully grown. Country confidence in a truck that's going back home. Yes, it is. Country confidence in a truck that's going back home. Country confidence in a truck that's going back home. Alright. A minus? Maybe an A. Okay, I'm improving. A little improvement there. Okay, let's talk about the hat stuff now. Feel good, I got through that song. I guess it does pay to rehearse, huh? Alright, so, a couple of people asked me recently, what do I need? I get different angles. Some people ask me if they need leather conditioner for the leather sweatbands. The answer to that is no, definitely not. The leathers have it depends on what kind of leather sweatband you have. Some of them are painted. They're kind of coated with like a leather-like paint, kind of like. So it's almost like you're conditioning this like paint. And what happens is it just makes the dye just come loose, and then you start getting like black stuff on your face and stuff. It's just like, what it does is it takes the coating off there. There's sort of like a little coating, and it screws it up. Just don't do it. It depends on what kind of leather you've got, but I've never seen a need for it. Generally, the leather gets dry from not wearing the hat. If you keep your hat hung up for many, many years and you don't wear it, the radiator in your house from the hot rooms and stuff just makes your leather dry out a little every year, and eventually it just shrinks. The hat gets tighter and tighter. Generally, what you're doing is you're reversing that process by putting it on, and the sweat and the heat from your head conditions the leather. That's the best. It's a little bit gross to say, but it's natural, and just let it happen. I don't have any leathers that are bad. I have a ton of hats. I don't baby them. And my hats are from 1994 and on. I get 2 free hats working at the hat shop every year, one winter, one summer. 25 years, so that's 50 hats. I don't have that problem with one single hat in that quarter of century. Now, when you're talking about hats from the 40s and 50s and stuff like that, you know, buy it big, just don't buy it small. If you're a 7 1/4 and it's like, it's a 7 1/8, it's close enough, I'll let it stretch. No. Don't do it, because that 7 1/8 is probably shrunk into a 7. So you got to get your size or go bigger. Just don't go smaller, because it's just not going to work. And stretching sucks. Sometimes I'd rather just take the leather out of the hat than stretch a hat, because there's so many side effects, you know, like you know, stretch marks, and the brim doesn't sit right, and you know, there's so many things that you're screwing up. It's so brutal that I'd rather you just do something like pull the leather band out or something, you know. I have hats where I actually sliced out the entire leather sweatband except for the front part that goes against my forehead. I just leave that there, and I took all this out just to loosen it up like 2 sizes, you know, because I had no choice. And the hat itself still looks great, but you know, I have a lot of full hair, so I don't sweat back here. If you've got, you know, short hair or buzz cut, balding, shaved head, any of that kind of stuff, you can't mess with that. You need your leather sweatbands. So I would just say go big, tighten up, don't go small, definitely not. Now, waterproofing, no, you don't need that either. I'm going to say if it's an old camping hat or something like that, you just don't care whether it's cool or hot or whatever, you're just using it to keep the rain off you. You don't care what it looks like. It could have bird poop on it. Yeah, spray some waterproofing, it doesn't. But it's not necessary. These hats usually are rainproof. The issue is generally that they lose their shape. It's not that they seep water, okay? So what happens is they're held up by this stiffener. The hats get soft from the water, and the weight of the water itself pushes it down, and when you store the hat wrong, like on a table or something, and it dries flat. Generally it can't hold the weight of the water. Unless it's a Western hat, a lot of times it'll do that. But a dress hat, no. So what I say is store the hat right, flip it up, stuff like that. Don't worry about waterproofing, keep it away from heat. That also means hot rooms. If your whole house is hot, let's say it's winter, it's February, and the heat is pumping in every room, that's not going to work. The leather's going to be shrinking. So you got to find someplace cool. You put it in the basement, you put it in a room where you turn the heat off, or just the furthest away from all your radiators. You put it in your, your basement, your garage, wherever it's cooler. Cold is not going to hurt your hat, but hot will. The radiator and that steam heat, it'll dry the leather out and shrink the hat. There are ways to reverse that. Sometimes, you could cut the seam here in the back, right here, and then inside there's a little reed, like a nylon wire. You could snip the wire and get that tension out, or just pull the reed out completely, and that'll give it more flexibility. It'll start stretching more. That's a trick you can do too. Now, what I'm going to say you do need, a roll of packing tape. Get some tape, good packing tape. Don't get the cheap stuff that doesn't pick up. Get some good packing tape, 1, 2, 3 rolls of it if you need, and get a hat brush, that's good too. If you have a wool hat, you don't need a hat brush, you only need the packing tape. Hat brushes do not work on wool hats, they work on fur felt hats, tongue twister. You have to go counterclockwise, okay, and it's not going to take the dust off. It won't. That's a myth. It pushes it around, that's all it does. So what you do first, take the tape, make rings, big ring, pat it down. So here's your tape ring, you're just patting it down, you're getting all the dust off of the bottom. Turn the tape ring over. Okay, when the tape ring's spent, throw it out, get another ring. You could also make 5, 10 rings, stick them to the edge of the table, take them off one by one. You might need a lot, more than 10 maybe. You're getting every bit of the bottom, so every speck of dust is off. Then you're going to do the edge. Don't forget the edge. If you got a wool hat, like a light felt, it collects dust on the edge like crazy. So you got a light felt, you got to tape down the edge on a wool or a light felt hat. If it's fur felt, you're going to see less on the edge, okay? You're going to do more on the brim. Do the top side of the brim, tape it down, turn the tape over, change tape. Keep doing it. You might get like a few inches, from each piece of tape, Change tapes. Now do the crown. Do the side of the crown. You know what I'm saying? Turn the tape over. Do the top of the crown. Okay. Get all of the dust off. You look at it. You get your reading glasses on if you need them. Keep going. Keep doing it until every single speck is off. That's the only way you're going to get your hat to look clean. The next thing you do, you could give it a touch of steam, just a touch. And what that does is it gets rid of the scratches and marks and just lights and darks and all that stuff. But just a bit of steam. You don't want to change the shape. Just a good misting. That's it. And then hold it by the leather. Take your hat brush, something called a brim brush. We sell them at JJ's for like, I think, I don't know, $10 or 15 or 10. Like this, you brush it counterclockwise. The top of the hat is always done counterclockwise, without exception. Every single hat. Do the side of the hat, do the top of the hat, always counterclockwise. Keep going over and over and over. Brush it like you're brushing your shoes, like shining shoes, and you're going to sit there brushing with elbow grease for like, 15 minutes, like really brushing into a high shine. That's what you're doing. You're getting the steam. Well, first you're taking the tape, you're getting the dust off, the dust is gone. Then the steam is going to even out the color and kind of get all the naps sort of standing on edge. Then you take the brush and you're brushing it counterclockwise. You get all the hairs going the same direction, kind of like smooth velvet. So it'll look like velvet, or it'll look like fresh snow without any like footprints. fingerprints. It's kind of like that. Any analogy I could think of that's better than that, I'll let you know. But brushing it is doing that. It's getting everything going the same way, especially if you have a long hair finish like velour or beaver finishes. Definitely get the brush. Get a brim brush. They should be horsehair. Something stiff is even good too. I love a stiff brush, like a real wiry stiff brush. Even ones made out of plastic are good, like those suede brushes, you know, those stiff ones. Just, you know, be real aggressive, man. It's okay, as long as you're going counterclockwise. You're not like pounding the hat, but you're brushing, you know. And that's it. Keep it going, keep it going. Don't oversteam it, but you know, a little mist will help. Even at the ends, you want to just get all the brush marks off, just a tiny bit. That's it. That's all you need. A roll of packing tape, or a couple of rolls, and a hat brush. Now, a hat brush can be anything. It could be soft, like a brim brush. It could be hard and bristly, like one of those shoe brushes, those clothing shoe brushes, the ones that, you know, you brush shoes with. Those are good, the real stiff ones. I love that, you know. A thin one, you know, like a nice thin one, also good. But yeah, we sell hat brushes and packing tape, you know, where you could get that, you know, Staples or Amazon or whatever. Get them. That's what you need for your fur felt and your wool felt hats. Don't put any kind of stuff on. The people at Gorin Brothers are trained to take you over to the pins counter and show you, you know, hat pins, because everybody has at least 2 or 3 in their hats. This is the way the employees are trained. Then they're trained to take you over to the product section, where they have like sprays, waterproofers, and colored sprays, and this and that, and deodorizing sprays, and like all these products and stuff, you know, like these kits. And we used to sell these ones for Western hats. One of them was like black spray paint, and one of them was like this kind of like silver belly spray paint. They were the worst. People, they advertise them as hat cleaners and stuff. People would spray them, and it would come out like spray paint. It was for black hats, and it was for silver belly hats. For people who did shows, like horse shows, you know, they powder them up and stuff. But that's it. Once you get like rain in cornstarch or something like that, your hat is just all like blotchy. It looks horrible. It's only for people who show horses. That's it. It's not for any kind of humidity or weather. And the same thing with those sprays. So avoid the sprays. There are salesmen at some of these stores that go through an extensive training session, and they are told to bring you, after you get your hat purchase, over to this BS counter to spend some extra money on the stupid sprays, and then you spend some more money on the stupid pins. And that's because the hats have like no profit, but all those little extra things, that's where they make all their real profit from. You know, it's like $20 for like a thing of alcohol. That's like probably this much alcohol in there. Would probably worth like, you know, 11 cents wholesale, maybe less. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, a few pennies. It's just not a good practice. Don't buy any sprays for your hats. It's all a rip off. Snake oil. Get rid of it. You can get a hat stiffener. Hat stiffener is something I believe in. You get something that's, I don't know, legit. Don't get it from like one of these chain stores. You know, get something legit from a place that has serious hat. You could try Manhatco. They sell, I think, stuff for felt and for straw. It comes in an aerosol can, and what you do is you're going to pat down your hat with the tape, then spray, and make sure you cover up the leather sweatbands, because you can't get spray on the sweatbands, and you can't have any dust under the spray, otherwise you'll be sealing that dust under there forever and ever. Pat it down with the tape extensively, get every speck off. I mean every single speck. You're going to spray down the hat with stiffener. You be super, super extensive with the way you clean your hat with the dust. Once you think it's clean, go over it with another 3 or 4 tapes, just to make sure there's nothing there. You're not taking any felt off. All you're taking off is dust and loose stuff that shouldn't be on the hat. So don't worry about hurting it. After that, you can stiffen your hat. Stiffener I believe in. There's something called Scout stiffener that's pretty legitimate. It comes in a pump spray. It seems to be okay. It dries invisible. It goes on in little like drops because it's a pump. But it seems to dry pretty good though on Invisible. I tend to use either the stuff from Manhattan. It's called Sizing. It comes in a plain white can. Or I just go to the drugstore and I get Ultra Hold hairspray. I usually get Suave or Rave or Aquanet. And you just get the Super Hold, Ultra Hold type, the strongest kind they have. And it's essentially acetone, which is like the main ingredient in a lot of these lacquers and hat stiffeners. And it reacts almost exactly the same. It's kind of like one of those trade secrets and stuff. It works really, really good, and it's like, you know, a quarter of the price of a can of Sizing, probably a fifth of the price or something. So hairspray is good, but you've got to cover the sweatband inside. Sometimes if you don't have anything like a hat jack to cover it, you can use a huge ball of tissue. Just make a bowling ball, like a head-size ball, put it in the hat, that covers the leather, and that's it. Start spraying the underside. I like to do more work on the underside than the overside of the brim. I figure, I never get any buildup on it, but I figure if I start putting 50 or 100 coats and it starts building up, I'd want it on the bottom. But, you know, I've done like 25, 30, 40 coats of hairspray on some of my hats and they don't build up. So when it's new, sometimes it might feel a little hard, but that's what you're going for. They kind of soften up after you wear them. Yeah, they get like a kind of a crunchy feel. That's what stiffener does. You know, you have to find a good balance so you get a good snap, but it doesn't feel like a rock, you know. Alright, I guess that's about it. I think I got through that song pretty well today. Let's try to let's play something fun now. It's a little higher, right? QC. You know that cats they came from JJ Hats.